guys. So thanks so much for coming on today. We got a good little group on here. Jason O'Keefe.
Yes.
I would love to hear a little bit of the background. How'd you start? Give me I want to know units. Like I want to know specifically how many deals you were doing in each year. And I want to kind of get to know a little bit better about how you went from, being brand new to I don't know how many units are you guys going to be doing this year.
Yeah, so basically my career started in 2005, 2006, part-time probably till middle of 2006. And then I decided to go full-time. Again, with everybody that gets into the business, that first part is very scary to people, giving up a full-time job. Now, saying that, I did work for myself in a family business, shipping clothing around the world. So when I started in 2007, what I learned in 2006 is I had to put a lot of time and effort into this. So my first year full-time, I just went back and looked. I did 35 deals in my first year, full-time. Now, everybody might say, well, how did you do it? Well, a lot of it was just work. And so we'll get into that after. It's just what I did for all my time and my hours and what that looked like. So from about 2007 to about 2015, I would average anywhere between 30 and 40 deals. I would have some part-time admin help along the way, just to give you guys an idea of that. I always was part of a group or a team, probably since day one. When I started in 2007, 2008, I actually partnered up with another lady. All we did was just pay for all the marketing together. That was our partnership. There wasn't anything else in that. So in 2015, when I joined up with Steve and Wes at that other company, I really dived into taking more classes and training. To give you an idea, in 2015, before I joined up with them, I actually, even though I was making over $200,000 a year, I almost quit. I was burnt out. I was tired. I needed something new. So when I talked to these guys, they got me re-engaged. When I started working with them, I started taking the training, going on as many of these calls as possible, diving into all the different programs that we're starting to run here at Davenport and all that stuff, and starting to listen to other people that were in the game for a long time and how they were doing it. And the biggest thing I learned out of all that is I needed to have a database. So even though I was doing 30 to 40 deals a year, I had repeat clients going on, I didn't have a proper database. And I want to stress that to everybody is I've factored in now over those 10 years, there's well within 300 to 400 deals I lost or opportunities. I'm not saying I would have got them all, but I figure there's that many out there. That if I would have just done my database right from day one properly, like I still have clients in my database from 2005, 2006. And the only thing I know about them is I know where they live. That's it. I don't have an email. I don't have a phone number. I don't have nothing.
Jay, so can I jump in just real quick?
Yeah.
When you were doing, okay, because again, 30 to 35 units in your first year, like first full year, is actually insane. So how did you get those deals? Like, how did you even start at that level that quickly?
So my training from a gentleman, been a friend of mine, I played sports with him and all that, who's still in the business and one of the top guys in town, was his advice to me was get good at open houses. That was my training. That was it. Get good at open houses. And I wasn't even good at open houses. Like people would walk in, I'd hand them my card and I'd say, hey, give me a call. I wouldn't even take down their info. That's why I talk about the amount of opportunities I could have had, right? I waited for people to call me back. But the one thing I always was good at, and I got a lot of clients about this, is I answered my phone. I've had clients that have been repeat clients with me, and they'll tell you the reason they dealt with me is on a Sunday afternoon, they were calling around. They called 4 agents. I was the first to pick up. I've now done 5 deals with that group because I just picked up my phone and answered it. So, we talk about work ethic, and we can talk about, and we'll do all that too, is we'll talk about what it looks like to your days are, what they entail and what you do. It's about work. You get out of what you put into it, right? So I would do 4 open houses a weekend. I would drive from one to the next on a Saturday, and then I'd do the same on a Sunday. And again, hey, trust me, there was times where I was hungover and I didn't want the door to open, right? Like I wanted to take a nap in the chair. And I didn't even do them right. I didn't write down everyone's info. I didn't do that. But I just talked to people. And the biggest thing I did was I listened, what they were looking for. And I tried to be that person to just say, well, yeah, no problem. I can help you with this or do this. Or I always set them up on searches, right? That was the biggest thing. Like we talk about how in 2007, 2008, the market crashed a bit in 2008. And I went 3 months without a paycheck. And my 2009 started off slow, and I still think I ended up with over 30 deals. And you got to remember, that's when we had the downfall, right?
Okay, so now tell me how you went from, because when you look at Jay's production specifically, he would shoot anywhere from like 30 to say 38 transactions in a year for a whole bunch of years in a row.
Yep.
So what that tells us is that he has a ceiling, and he hits his ceiling, and there's only one way to get through the ceiling. So I'd like to know, because I think a lot of us are in that position where we kind of get to a point where we hit our we call it a natural ceiling of achievement. We hit that ceiling and we don't understand what it takes to move past that.
You're on mute.
Yeah. So when I moved over with you guys, my first 6 months there was strictly spent on database. I'd still do the stuff I would do, but I would work on my database. So I actually went back through 35 to 40,000 emails and started adding people into my database. My database in 2015 was an Excel spreadsheet and Outlook and a piece of paper with all my past clients where I'd send out yearly calendars. That was my database. And it's amazing how many people have that, and that's all they use still. Where at least with this company now you have KV Core or somewhere to put them, right? So, and when I first started, I've actually moved about 3 different CRMs, 3 to 4, and you ask my team now, drives them nuts, right? Because I won't give up anybody. So in 2015, start of 2016, I basically started just database. I went back through 40,000 emails. Any showing request I ever got from somebody, anything I could find, any of the people that I went through all my phone, and I started adding them into my CRM. I started going through everything I could, right? I've even now gone through LinkedIn, right? So
Can I ask a quick question? Oh, sorry. Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, jump in.
And I apologize, KV Core, is it the same as CRM?
yes.
Because I hear KV Core and I hear CRM. It's the
Yeah,
same.
so my apologies. With Davenport, you guys have KV Core, right? I still use a company called Follow Up Boss, but that's just because of the systems I have to bring in leads on my source. But you guys Davenport has an amazing CRM system that if I could use, I would use KV Core. And I'm actually going to find out one day how I can take people and move some of them in there. So, but that's, my size of database is huge. So when I started bringing people over. I figured my database was about 250 to 300 people from past deals that I brought over. Now, remember, I lost people that moved. I don't have phone numbers for half of them. I don't have emails for half of them. And I started building what I could. And once I started building that, I then went the next year to doing 55 deals in a year. So if you get an idea, so when I started 2015, 16, starting to work on it, by mid 2016, I had only done 14 deals by July. The rest of the year I did 40. And that was because first part of it was I put a database together, and then I at least started setting them up on a monthly email. That was it. For people that know me, I am not a cold caller. I actually don't even call my database, which is sad, right? Like I can tell you the amount of deals I could probably get out of more of it, because I shouldn't say I don't call my database. I do talk to people on a regular basis, but I don't go deep into it, which I should. So what I'm trying to tell people is 2 things. We were talking about how you do 10 deals, and we'll get into that in a second. Is what are you doing with your time of day? And what does your week look like and your month look like? And then also, what are you doing with that? Like, are you writing down everybody's number? Are you taking everybody's information that you can? Those are the things you need to look at as real estate agents as salespeople, like, what are you doing with your time? I always say to people is being a real estate agent, a lot of people get in for different reasons, but a lot of it is so they can make their own schedule. I'm going to tell you right now, that is actually the worst thing for you as a real estate agent. Because what happens is, how many times, I got to pick the kid up at this time. I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. That can be the worst thing for you because you can put stuff off because I'll get to it later. Well, that's not how this works. If you want to be in this business forever and ever and make a career and make $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year, or even $100,000 a year, it's what you do with your time. So, we talk about, your work ethic is massive. I would love everybody to honestly write down how many hours they actually think they work real estate. I would actually love you all to write it down. And then I'm going to tell you straight up, half it, because I guarantee you that's all you do. I want you to actually look at your schedule. If you look at my schedule, and that's something else I learned from working with Wes and Steve is put in your schedule. Everything's in my schedule. My schedule is full.
So what would a typical day look like, Jay? So if you're going to say, okay, let's talk about 10 deals a month.
Yep.
Obviously it starts the month before, but let's just start at day one at the beginning of the month. What has to happen in order for 10 deals to happen?
First thing is, where am I going on training? And
Okay, so what skills are you improving? What's the most important skills to be looking at?
I am talking to, I'm taking courses on, for me, I spend most of my time really on lead gen and database. I spend a lot of time listening to people that lead gen and database consistently.
Anyone in particular that we could write down?
Tom Ferry's good. I bet you there's classes, and I haven't seen this from, I haven't dived in enough with KV Core, but I bet you KV Core has some classes you can watch.
Yeah, they do.
I listen to Follow Up Boss. I listen to Why Local, who I deal with. They have classes. I also will listen. I'll go on some of our own courses that we have, right? So, Inman's got some courses. There's the lab coat agents down in the US, right? They're good. There's some, for people with iPhones, you can go on Clubhouse. There's some great people on Clubhouse right now, right? If people don't know what Clubhouse is, you can always reach out to Kevin on my team. He can tell you a bit more. But they have conversations all day long. And some of the great ones out there are Gabe Cardone. I'm trying to think of lab coat agents. I just said that's Tristan. There's a bunch of different guys. And if you ask me, I can write them all down.
I think too, people find their way, right? Like we look at like a Brian Buffini or, or a Tom Ferry, where it's very like specific to your way of doing business. I know a lot of people on here might be like, hey, I want a cold call. And then there's a lot of people that are like, not a chance. Yep. So it's just figuring out what your niche is. Okay. I want to know specifically what a day looks like. Is it like a lead generation morning? Is it a typical, are you conversing with your database? What are you saying to them? I want to know the nitty gritty.
My first part of the day is I always look at, if I had to start it off, I always spend my first part of my morning on Matrix, just seeing what's selling, what's also for sale, so I can update my clients as I talk to them.
So in understanding a market and what's 100%. Happening.
I spend a lot of time understanding the market because so you have to understand your clients or your friends or your family, they're going to call you and ask you as a piece of advice. They can all see nowadays, what is it sold for? There's apps out there that say, this is what it pending sold for. They want to know what's going on with the market. That's more important. So I'm always listening. I listen to the news. I read articles. I go to some of the realtor at the Quar. They do the yearly CMHC thing. I go to that, right? So I spend a lot of time learning on market because that's the difference that you can talk to your clients and friends. I also always answer every one of my calls that I get from any of my clients, emails, texts, immediately. Almost immediately. Nobody. So I once had a client call me. I was at a rink watching my kid play hockey. I picked up the phone. He goes, hey, Jay, how's it going? I said, no problem. He goes, I was just sitting with my buddy who said his agent's the most amazing agent. And I said, I guarantee you I'll get Jay in 15 minutes. I said, well, how fast was it? Or I called him back because I saw I missed it. He goes, 7 minutes. I said, well, let me know how soon his agent calls him back. He called me back. He goes, he got back to him about 24 hours later.
I think the thing that Jay keeps describing, and I don't know if we're kind of nailing it on the head, but I think when you nail it on the head, it's a high sense of urgency.
Yes.
And a lot of times we do see that people, it's a high sense of urgency in getting back to people and like connecting with people, which is really, really important.
Well, that's your job, is to answer people's questions. So just to give you an idea, like, you know, when we talk about how I did 10 deals last month, right? Most of those clients, just so everyone understands, have been friends or people I've known from different things that I've never done a deal with in 15 years since they've been in my database. Okay? 15 years, most of those people have been in my group of sphere influence, never done a deal with me. They actually bought just as I was becoming an agent. And now they're dealing with me. That's where a lot of it was. So when we talk about not only work ethic, which, as I say, like, I work probably 50, 60 hours a week. And it's not hard work. Please understand that. Like, I don't think it's hard work when a client messages you at night, says, hey, what'd that property sell? Grab your computer, click, bam, send it to them. That's it. And I do that all the time, right? So, and I'll spend probably, so a typical day for me is, first thing I do is I make sure that I didn't miss anybody in the morning.
What does that mean? Like your pipeline?
No, I go back through all my emails from the day before.
Okay.
And text messages. Because we do know we get busy with showings and offers. First thing I do is I go back real quick, right? Scan back, make sure I have that. And then I also look to see, is there anybody that I was talking to that I need to add in my database? All right. So that's the first thing I do. Also, when you have a database, you need to kind of give an idea where they are, right? So I have different tags. You know, there's the ABC method. There's past clients, family and friends, sphere. I have them in different categories.
Yeah, I think we could do a whole course or whole class on database management.
Yeah. So, but start my day. I always check my stuff. I check Matrix, what sold yesterday. I also go back and I look at the last 3 days to make sure I didn't miss anything. So I just do a quick one, and I kind of have an idea where my clients are. If I see something that just came online, even though it's maybe into their search, I automatically send it to them first thing. So Matrix is open on my desk all day long. When I'm around, when I'm near a computer, it's open. I check Matrix probably 20, 30 times a day, just so people know that, right? Because even if they know they're going to get in the search, I still send them stuff that I think might work. But I'm also keeping myself educated on that. Then now I have whatever appointments I already have set for the day, right? And there's usually some kind of training involved in every day of my life, whether I'm the one giving it or, you know, I'm spending the time with listening to different people. And if I can't get one, I'll get a recording and watch it later.
Okay, so I want to make sure we're staying on track. So the first thing in the morning, you're looking at Matrix, you're going over all essentially the market. You're learning the market, making sure you're up to date on that. Then you move on to make sure you're hitting all your emails and making sure you didn't miss any clients from the past days.
Yep.
Then what are you doing?
Then I'm just, for me now, I talk to the team, the agents, or my admin. That's what I do. And then I probably spend 2 to 3 hours. If I'm in the office, I spend 2 to 3 hours just going through my database every day.
Okay, awesome. So this is what I want to talk about, because I want these guys to understand that obviously some of them are and some of them aren't talking to a team. How do they get to the 10? So it's, if they're digging into their database, what are they saying to their people?
So like last month, when you watch different trainings, you get different things said to you. So the last one I took was a little Tom Ferry one. And it said, hey, this market's crazy, or sorry, this market's bananas. And then you put 7 little bananas in it. It was something like that. Yeah, this market's bananas. You should give me a call if you have any interest in selling your home or something like that. I forget, I'd have to send it out. I got 2 deals off of it, 2 listings off that little stupid text.
Okay, so this is something I like to talk about. Is it, when we're dealing with our clients now, are you dealing in strictly tech? How are you communicating with them specifically?
From a client, like when I'm talking to them, or databasing?
So if I'm reaching out to my database, are you emailing them? Are you calling them? Are you texting them?
I email and text my database. I don't call.
Okay, so that banana script that you just said, is that a text message?
Text or email if I don't, because remember, I said, some of my old people don't have phone. I'm missing stuff, right? So it's text, email, or I'll even go on Facebook Messenger and do it.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Right? If you can call, great. But if you're gonna go with calling your database, the problem I find is my conversations go longer than 5 minutes. That's why I do it. So I try and keep it that way.
What about response rate? Are you finding that you're getting a better response rate from a certain communication?
People love to text now. It's quick. It's easy. People also like Facebook Messenger because we all hate that little bubble that shows up on our phone.
Yeah.
Right?
Good
like
point.
Everyone gets rid of it, eh? You're like, get that thing out of here, right? So, there's different, I think you can try all different things. To give you guys an idea, so when I first started doing my database, I would email them, send out for Christmas card and a calendar. That was one thing I've always done since day one, right? That was it, to start. So what we're talking about is databasing, and you have to set up what you're able to do on a daily basis to maintain your database. That's the biggest thing. And as a new agent, you need to create a database. As an agent that's been around for a while, now you got to maintain that database.
Okay, so I feel like we kind of keep jumping here, but in reality, what you keep hammering on is database. The way to get to that point is through your database.
Yeah, if you want to be in this business long term, life's so much easier when you just do database. So you have to understand on my team now, when I just did 10 deals last month, any buyer lead that basically comes in as a brand new lead through anything, I hand it off to my team. So I can just tell you how many more deals I could have done. There was 2 sign calls I got recently. I just handed off to the team. They went and sold the houses. I could have done 12. That's easy, right? So if I get a call on the phone, I might take it the odd time, but a lot of times I'll take it, get the information, pass it off. So I could have done more. Because we know once you get listings, you get more sign calls, you get more people in your database. You understand right? So,
right. Okay. So Kim just posted, thanks, Kim. Kim just posted the script in the chat. If you guys want to pull that off. So
the bananas one?
That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Kim.
So here's the thing. I got a team of 14 people. I guarantee you there's only 4 or 5 of them that actually did it because they just don't listen all the time.
Oh, they got called out.
Leslie did it, right? So I'll throw the ones not on the bus here. And hey, just so you give an idea, we talked about database back in January and February. Leslie on my team did 6 deals 1 month. And she's only been in the business, 6 years? 5, 6 years?
Yep.
Right? So just to give you an idea, it's stuff it's easy to do if you stay on top of it. I tell everybody you should walk through your whole database every 90 days. And I have a database of 700.
What does that mean specifically?
Everybody in my database, I look at everybody in my database every 90 days. And I have 700 people in mind.
So do you just take one day and literally look over? Oh man. Oh.
Sometimes I'll do 100 in a day.
Okay.
Here's the funny thing. I started sending out that little bananas thing. And last month, because I stopped sending it out to the other 500 people in my database because I couldn't deal with it anymore. Right?
Well, the cool thing, guys, too, if you don't know this, in KV Core and most databases for that matter, whatever you're using, there is a mass text function. So a text message you could literally send out to your entire database in a matter of seconds.
I didn't do that because I was afraid I wouldn't be able to answer them all.
I would be afraid too. Yes.
Right? And again, my database has holes all over it. So one of the things I want to talk about really quickly is, the first thing you should do is if you don't have a database, start one. If you're not using KV Core or Follow Up Boss or Buffini or any of the CRMs, get one.
Stephen Smith, can you hear me? He's probably on mute. He's got a really good.
I know you're gonna go, Wes.
Okay. So Stephen, what do you say for? You have a great line for database. So what is it? What do you want to get for database? The what? The pain.
The pain.
What does that mean?
It's PANE. You get your phone number, address, name, and email. That's what you put in your database. So it's painful, but you got to do it. PANE. So one things I'm taking away from Jason's lesson here is, guys, you gotta build it, communicate with it, and answer the leads that come in. Worst is you build this database, you communicate with it, and then you get a lead from it, and you're like, oh, I'll call him later. No, you got to be a dog on a bone, right? Jay's a dog on a bone. That's how he's been described to me before. You make a phone call to Jay, he will call you back until you physically have to call him and say, "Bud, stop calling me." Okay, so that's the system. Build a database, communicate with it, respectfully communicate with it, right?
Yes.
Like, don't send them garbage, and follow up on leads.
So yeah, to give you an idea, when I started doing that database like 4 years ago, my database, the team database now, is over 33,000 people. I don't let anyone out of my database. There's people that will tell you that just keep the top A, Bs, and Cs and let the Ds go. No, you just deal with the A, B, Cs differently than you deal with the Ds. Never let anybody out of your database. I've had listings where I haven't talked to people in 3 years, but they signed up somewhere and I send them monthly mailers. That's it. I had a lady the other day, I went and did one at her house. She's told other people that knocked on her door, no, I'm going to deal with Jay. I met her once for 15 minutes. And she gets monthly emails from me. That's it. I had to actually go find her back in her pond, where I put all my crap in the pond, as I call it. I had to go find her again in there before one of my agents stole it. So, right? So I don't get rid of anybody. You come across anybody, do not get rid of them. Have them somewhere. Like some of the other agents that aren't on my team that take leads, they'll put them back in the pond because they know they'll get them back. Like on my team, it's different. We put them in the pond, we get them back. Right? Now, real quick, just so you guys know, building a database it's actually very easy. So a lot of my database I've added from, I played baseball, played hockey, played golf. Anybody I come in contact with goes in my database. Kids sports, if you belong to church groups, if you belong to anywhere and anywhere that you get someone's email, put them in your database, right? Maybe don't send it out that day, but add them to a market report or something that just gives them we just send out a quick little market report every month. Hey, this is what happened recently in the Kitchener-Waterloo area. Bam, that's it. The other thing is, do not send that through your database. Go through a MailChimp source or something else outside. And the reason we do that is they have to now unsubscribe twice.
Oh, you sneaky bugger.
Well, in my database, it comes one-on-one for me. But when I send out the monthly mailers, it goes through MailChimp.
So one of the questions I think Kim just asked was content. And one of the things I heard, and it was from this awesome realtor in the States, and he said, because people get a little cranky about if you send them too much stuff, which is true. We all get that way. But he said, if I sent you $5 every month in the mail, would you tell me to stop? And the answer is no. Well, that means that we are not sending these people what they want. We're not sending them value.
There's a great book. I have to remember, it's like the 10 times book. So I read this guy. What he said was, so when we started doing our social media posts, right? So what we started doing is people go from a value of, you start to give them too much, right? You go from being a little bit, then you start going too much. Now some people will get pissed off and they'll say, unsubscribe me, I don't want to deal with you. Well, guess what? They were never dealing with you anyways. My team's actually gone past that point now. So, oh my God, you guys are busy and we need to deal with you.
That's a mindset for sure.
Right? Because, I don't want to bug them. You put too much. Those people that say unsubscribe me, they don't want to deal with you. They're never going to deal with you. So what they say, no, perfect, gone, next. But we've gone to the point now where we put out so many posts. I told my team I want 60 posts a week. And now we're getting in, holy, you guys are busy. Look at what you got going on. Now, remember, it has to be different content. It can't be, I sold a house, I sold a house, I sold a house. So whatever you do, whether it's a monthly mailer, it's a text message a month or something, people like to know that you're the person they can call when they need a question answered about real estate. And that's where we're at now as a team. And that's where I am. So I'm getting that coming back. Right? But again, database. Like I said, sports, this, that, phone call, open house thing. Everybody goes in my database. When they sign up for an open house and they have an agent, I still send them an email. Thank you very much for coming through my open house.
Good. All right, guys, I got to run. Steve is going to take over. Have a great day, everybody.
Yes. So Steve, one of the other conversations we were having is one of the reasons I came to this company is part of my database is also having great conversations with realtors. And that's the other thing. In the industry, I have a decent reputation. I think I've only been taken to RICO once. So, you know, I joined this company because I saw opportunity, not just from wanting to get back and working with Wes. The other was to, why is that tone like that? The other reason was to come back and get some value of bringing agents with me and working on my passive income, because that's a massive thing in my world right now. So Steve, do you want to tell everybody a little bit more about RevShare and how that looks for everybody?
Yeah, as soon as Cass unmutes me.
There was an echo.
Yeah, I'm sure there was, Cass. Okay, before we leave this topic, though, I think we should answer a few questions on it before we get into that. So
Okay,
there's a couple people on here, Jay, who want to know what's your content of your newsletter?
So I'm fortunate enough to have Tammy Nolan on my team that does it. But one of the big things you can do just as a minor thing is every month, and I'll give, you know, Jerry, he puts out a monthly report to everybody on what's happening in those regions. I would just maybe take some of that on Waterloo region, what's going on with house prices, you know what I mean? How many homes sold, that stuff we get from, like in Kitchener, we get it from Core. I might just copy and paste that to all my clients. That's something better than nothing, right?
Yeah.
We also, in our newsletter, we'll do some of the, you know, like, and this is why we watch what's going on in the market is, you know, like tiny homes are now going to come to Kitchener. Zoning changes. I would just give them a little tidbit every once in a while, right?
Right. So it's not more the content, it's more of the touch.
Well, the content has to be useful, right?
Yeah, it's not going to be how to plant pumpkin seeds, but it's not like you're not spending crazy amount of time on this.
Oh no. Right?
You're not,
Pick
Heather is.
something and send it. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Pick something and send it.
yeah. Again, as a single agent, that's why I said just copy and paste what comes out from Quar and email that to everybody. Right?
Yeah.
So that would be that. I would do it. I would do
Okay,
that.
good. Move on to the next topic. You guys got something for Jay?
I would do that. What's the
Okay,
other
we're
question?
going to take a little questions now. Anybody got a question for Jay?
I have
Hold
a
on.
question.
Hold on, Jay. Hold on, buddy. Ursula's got a question.
Hello. So I am working on my database currently. And will it be difficult for me to transfer my information on an Excel sheet into the KV Core program? Will it be, do I have to retype everything, or is there an easy way to input this data into KV Core?
I can answer that.
Yeah, go ahead, Kev.
That's a tech question, Flora.
Steve,
You want to stay in touch?
Steve, you're the one making all the noise when you talk. I don't know what's going on with your mic there.
Okay. I would have Ursula.
Okay, I
Yeah.
can answer that, Ursula. As long as your spreadsheet matches up with what's needed in KV Core and those groupings, it should be no issue whatsoever. Also, KV Core will accept your spreadsheet as it is, and they'll put it in themselves for you for free. So
Cool. So continue to do the Excel sheet and then we'll work on that after.
sounds
So just
good.
do that. Okay. I do the pain. So I do the phone numbers, the addresses, the names and emails. So that's pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Perfect.
you can also pull your phone. Anybody got, I want everyone to look at your phone and see how many contacts you have in it. Right? Like you can actually pull from your phone, all your Excels and everything and put it in. Remember, it's okay if you only have a name of somebody or a phone number of somebody or just an email of somebody. Put everybody you have in. And then, so what I did was I put my whole phone in, I put everybody in. Yes, there's realtors in there. I deleted them in once I had them in there because it was just easier to jump everything into KV Core or wherever you're at and then delete people out. And even if you just have a phone number, so what I do is when I'm doing it every 90 days, I'm going through, I'm filling holes. So sometimes I'll be like, oh, this person's missing this. I'll go check. I've checked and sometimes I'll go and look in their LinkedIn. Sometimes I'll message them on Facebook and ask for that information. Sometimes I'll go on Geo and pull up where they live and then find out that they moved 3 months ago before I called them. I'm trying to tell you, dump them all in. And you can delete out the people that you don't want in there. It's easier than you going in and writing every person in your Excel spreadsheet one by one. It's easier to put it in and then go. And then have, you can do it based on, I'm going to do all my A's one day, then my B's next day, C's. And it's okay if it takes 90 days. It's okay if it takes 6 months. Like, don't think it has to be done all today. Like, don't stop working to do it, but just do it along the way. Like, I'll spend 2 or 3 hours a night sitting there while my daughter's talking on her iPad because she doesn't want to talk to me anyways. And I'll just sit there while I'm watching TV and go through 100 people. I'm not necessarily, do I have to send out emails or phone numbers every time I touch it. It's that I'm trying to make sure it's just working. Do you guys understand? And then you can mass it in. So dump them all in. Don't be afraid. You back, Steve? Questions? Any more?
Move rooms. Does it still sound weird?
You should just come stand in here and I'll walk away.
Just
Derek's got a question. Go ahead, Derek.
well, just so everybody knows, if you have an iPhone, you can
No.
go into your contact settings
Yeah.
and you can actually add in all of your Facebook contacts into your phone, and you will pull every single person's email.
See,
Every
that'll make me
single
go
one of your
buy an
friends'
iPhone.
email, you can get it.
See, now I'll go buy an iPhone just for that.
Yeah.
Right?
You can pull every single one and put them into your database.
That's
Does
cool.
that work on my BlackBerry, Derek?
I don't know.
So that's great to know. And now that I know that, I'm gonna, now I'm actually might go buy an iPhone.
Okay, Jason, let's
Yeah.
just say we don't have a crazy database and we've only been in the business 6 months.
Perfect.
How are you filling your database with new leads during this hard time?
Well, Derek just told you, you've got an iPhone. He just told you, you probably got a ton of people in there, right? So the other thing I learned for new agents, young people getting into the business, right? You guys got parents? They got friends? Why don't you ask for their database? Why don't you ask for their phone?
Mhm.
Right? They all know you because they watch you grow up with your parents. Hey, mom, dad, who's in the list here that I can, maybe I can let them know. So the other thing is let people know you're a real estate agent. Again, they may not deal with you today. They may not deal, as I said, I've had friends that didn't deal with me for 15 years, but they were in my database and they were getting something. And a lot of them asked me questions for years. Hey, what's going on here? What's going on there? Because I knew what was going on, I could answer them. Right? So that's, as a new agent, the other thing I also did was I've also aligned myself with, over the years, with agents that were retiring or moving, and I asked for their databases. I had one lady who did a lot of the Father David Bauer, the Seagram buildings in town. She moved out west. She gave me her database. I did about 4 or 5 deals. She was in Victoria. I still sent her the referral fee. Here, thank you. Right? I did 4 or 5 deals from her. Like, so there's lots of ways to go and do things, right? Hey, find somebody that needs some help in the industry. Find somebody that is, go on LinkedIn, tell people who you are, start talking to people, just let people you're a real estate agent. Hey, I'm a real estate agent. That's it. Can I get your information? Cold calling, right? Door knocking when you can, open houses, but don't do anything. It's not only when you do it, go with a purpose, and your purpose is filling your database, right? And don't ask them if they want to buy or sell a house today. They most likely don't. Hey, I just had a great conversation. Oh, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, it was great speaking to you today. I know you're not looking to buy a house right now or sell your house. Would you mind if I just update you every once in a while on some market stats? Right? Some of them might be yes, some might be no, right? Like farming an area around your neighborhood, walk around there, introduce yourself. The first introduction is, hey, I just wanted to let you guys know I'm a real estate agent. I live in the area. If you ever need anything, let me know. Oh, by the way, we do a market report that we send out every month. Would you be interested in getting that to tell you what's going on in the neighborhood? I never asked them to buy or sell, but I'm building my database. Do you guys understand? If you want to be in this industry long term, it's about building a database. It's not about selling a house today, right? Even though that pays for things. But if you want to build a long, right? So, that's what I would say, Cass, is, talk to your family and friends. Everybody has, you got phone contacts, you got Facebook. Derek just gave me an idea. I'm going to go buy a damn iPhone. I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to take it and download it all and then get right back to my old one, right? Or maybe one of my kids I can borrow that. Never thought of that. Thanks, Derek.
Yeah, Derek, there's more people that want to know exactly how to do that.
I did it a long time ago. I'm looking it up right now to try and figure it out, to put the steps in the comments.
Okay, cool.
Give me a
Thank
few
you.
minutes.
Yep.
And then figure out how I can do it with an Android, Derek, then I'd really be a friend.
You're on your own.
Thanks, buddy. No, seriously, you just have to be purposeful of it, and then you have to decide how you're going to manage it. And like I said, start with just a monthly mailer. I started just with a yearly calendar, and I built the database, right? Go back through all your old emails, get as many contacts as you can, make it your one purpose. If you're not out there, so I tell people right now, you have 8-hour days, 10-hour days, right? We're all stuck at home for most days. What does your day look like? Really? You get up so I'm a late night guy, so I do a lot of stuff after 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. I'll sit there, watch a hockey game, something, and it'll work, right? People that get up at 6, 7 in the morning, what are you doing with those hours, right? There's a perfect time, right? What are you doing with your time? Are you really spending the amount of time you are in the business? If you spend, honest to God, 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, just working your database and adding people and managing that, I guarantee you will have a massive amount of business. Massive. So just so people know, I don't go on showings or listing appointments till the end of the day. So my mornings, as Wes was asking my schedule, I try and get into the office because I don't like working from home because I just don't. I know it's hard, but if I do, I had a desk set up for 2-3 months. I had my own special spot. I sat there, I put 2 screens up, had my laptop or my computer, and I worked, and I would just take things from one screen to the other, copy, paste, put in my database. It's not rocket science. I'm not techie. So I would go basically do that for 2-3 hours in the morning, or I come in here, do this for the day. If I do any showings or any listing appointments or buyer appointments, I tend to do them on my way home. I don't give away my up until lunch unless I absolutely have to. And I don't like where I have to go show a house at 1 o'clock and then now I don't have something to do at 2, because I find those are the 2 hours before 3 or 4 you pick up the kids or go for dinner. Those get wasted so easy by doing crap. So I purposely do not show homes in mornings. I do not do listing appointments in the morning. I tend to do them from 2 to 3 o'clock on, because I don't want to waste my day driving somewhere and then there, and I tack everything together, right? If I got showings, I'm like one person now, I do the hour or 2, then I'll do the rest after. if you spend your morning, every morning from basically 9 a.m. till noon, just working on your database and just working on getting that cleaned up, and then how you're going to stay in touch with it and looking through it every day and looking through Matrix all the time when you're in there, I guarantee you your business will go. That's it. There's no rocket science here. And answer your phone, answer your emails as fast as you can, text messages as fast as you can. Not when you're driving. As soon as you stop, check it. Check it before you walk in the house, right? If you have a wife or a husband that says, hey, you're working all the time, just walk in and say, if you got 5 minutes of work to do, hey, honey, I got 10 minutes and then I'm all yours. But if you're going to be 5, tell them 10. That way, if you're done early, they're happy. Oh, no, I got done faster for you, right? So, same with kids, right? I know kids are tough nowadays, right? And remember, as soon as you get on a phone, they will come and talk to you. So it's a good time to email and text. Any other questions?
Okay. Are we good? Are we going to move on?
Sure.
Sure. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So the next part of this, I was told, is going to be about revenue share. And now Dave's going to reverse roles and kind of talk to me. So.
Yeah. All right, Steve. So the first thing is, I want to bring somebody in here. I want to tell them about this amazing thing that we do have called Rev Share. Just, can you kind of give us a little bit about how it works with the 3 lines, 3 deep?
Sure. So for those of you who don't know, we do revenue share at Davenport. And we have what they call 3 levels, right? So your level 1 is the people you directly tell me that you want me to call. So I call them, I recruit them, they join the company, they choose you as your sponsor. Okay, this is just the terms we use. That's called your first line, right? That person caps out of their capping dollars. The company will refund back to you $2,500 per agent.
And that gets paid out when, Steve, again?
That gets paid out in November. And our plan is to have it at a Christmas party. When we're allowed to have a Christmas party again, we're going to hand out checks those nights. So it could be a crazy good party. Okay, that's your first line. $2,500 is the maximum you'll earn per agent on your first line. Now, what I do, of course, is I take that first line from you and I hound them to bring people into the company because that's my job. Those people bring people in, that's called your second line. On your second line, you will earn up to $1,000 per agent on your second line. Okay, now I take that second line and I hound them to bring people into the company. They do. You will earn $500 per head on your third line. All right, so your only job, if you want to be participating in Rev Share, which is a pretty big deal in our company. Last month, we gave out $9,000 to our agents. One of our agents in our office last month made $2,000. And we only started this in August of last year. So it hasn't even been a whole year yet. And we're already, I think we're over $23,000 so far handed out. So it's a pretty big deal. It can grow really substantially. Right? Your first line at $2,500 a head, if you only give me 10 people in the next 2 years, that's $25,000 a year passive income. I don't know what you got to do to get passive income, but it's.
So, Steve.
What?
So even if they don't cap, I still get a percentage of this too, right?
That's right. $2,500 is the maximum you will get. As soon as that person does a deal, you will benefit from it. But $2,500 is the max. So up to $2,500 per agent.
So even if I get a guy that I want is in my first line, but he doesn't do $2,500, he isn't capped. But the guy he brings on or lady he brings on ends up capping, then I can make $1,000 on. So I could actually make more in the second than the first because the second line guy does more business.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
We just talked to a big team in Hamilton, okay? Because of the company, the way we are situated, we can go to any city, anytime, any place. So we just talked to a big team in Hamilton. He's got 17 people on his team, and the lady in London told me to talk to him. So think about that. She knows this guy, and I'm talking to him. He joins the company, 17 agents. Even if he's her first line and she got 17 in her second line, that's 20 grand. $20,000 passively by making one phone call. And all she did was say, hey, would you listen to Steve if he called you? And the guy said, yeah, I'll listen to Steve. Now we're in talks with that guy in Hamilton. And he's talking about opening a branch office.
Yep.
There could be 200 people in that office underneath her in revenue share.
Well, that's how the Cambridge office opened, right?
100% how the Cambridge office opened.
I gave you a name, right?
Yep.
So
Now we have 21 agents in the Cambridge office.
So just so you guys know, this also goes back to when we talk about database and how we work with things. So one of the things is because of my professionalism with other agents in the industry, building that level up, because they're also part of your database. Please understand that can just be how you work your database too, is build a rapport with different agents that you've dealt with over time. You have a great response with somebody, you really liked how they work, stuff like that, and say, hey, you know what? We do rev share over here. Would you be willing to speak to Steve about that? Because I know one agent that was part of the one with the balloon on it. He figures he gave them over 100 people in his lifetime there. And you know what he's got for that? Zero. So if you guys want to see, you just don't know when you're having conversation with agents. They ask questions. They see what you do. You invite them in on training courses. You invite them in on all of these other stuff. That's your chance. Like, think about it. We talk about databasing your clients and getting them to go every year. Well, if you get 10 people over here a year, that's $25,000 every year that first year. Now we get another 10. Now we're up to 50,000. You can just sit at home and make $100,000 just by giving people's names to Steve. And if you don't, it happens, right? Because you don't know who they're talking to. You know, we're 6 degrees separation from the world. So this is a massive opportunity for everybody. And as a smaller company still, with the growth pattern that they want to do, this is huge. This is massive.
And to go back to Jay's thing about databasing too, I've been in this business 25 years. A lot of my clients are realtors who are no longer realtors.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Remember that. And another good person to put on your database is for sale by owners. I found out over the years, 60% of the people who sell their house privately become a realtor at some point in the next 5 to 6, 7 years. I've had people who have sold their homes privately. I hounded them to give me the FSBO. They didn't. And the next thing you know, they're in the industry and they're calling me for tips. Right? And in our situation, if you're in contact with them, now they're in your downline. Now that's revenue share coming in. And on the other side of that coin too, remember, and I don't like saying this, but in our industry, there's an 80% failure rate in the first couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Those people buy and sell houses after they've left. I know there's an agent on here right now who sold houses to agents that was in our company before. They got out and then bought and sold houses with him. It's all part of your database. I call it the 3-foot rule. Anybody that's in 3 feet of me, I get their information. And I have a lovely little script. I say, hey, you know, if I'm doing something like that, I always end it with, oh, by the way, I have a lovely newsletter I love to send out to my family and friends. Would you be offended if I stayed in touch? Offended, $100,000 word, people. Use that word because their automatic response to you is going to be, no, I don't want to be hounded. But if you say, would you be offended if I called you or be offended if I stayed in touch with you? Their automatic response is, no, I will be offended. So they're actually saying yes. It's a little bit of reverse psychology there. And then I look them in the eyes and say, that's great. What's the best email to get you at? Not just say, hey, what's your email? Because you say, hey, what's your email? They give you, you know, old tumble kitten they used in 1987 or something that they never read. No, what's the best email to get you at?
I'll give you my Hotmail one for that.
Yeah, exactly.
I give that to all the stores.
So
So
that's a good door knocking. That's a good script when you're at their house. It's a good script when you're cold calling them. It's a good script when you're standing in line at the grocery store. You know, I'm a realtor. I have a great newsletter. I love to send out to my family and friends. Would you be offended if I stayed in touch?
So Steve,
Very simple.
we're also starting to run a career night, correct?
We're also starting to run a career night.
So here's the thing, you now add all these people in your database, right? Everybody goes in your database. Here's another touch point you can do a few times a year. Hey, who do you know that's thinking about becoming a real estate agent? I guarantee you, if you put that out as a mass text or an email, everybody thinks that they want to be a real estate agent because they think they can get their own time. They see us all make a lot of money, some of us. No, hey, I really like watching the TV shows and I like talking to people, so I should be a real estate agent. I guarantee you, you'll get a ton of people that have always thought about it. So what you do is you say, hey, we're running a career night. Why don't you come to that? Remember, if you invite them in, they come to the career night and they have other questions and they start taking the courses or they're in the courses. When they come out, who do you think the person is you're going to conversation with? And they're going to say, what I want you to do is, hey, once you get so far into your courses, what I'm going to do is have you sit down with Steve and you'll talk to him again. You did nothing but career night. And that could be a $2,500 check in your pocket.
Remember, 80% of people are brokerage because they know somebody there, right? They feel comfortable going in. My friend works there, so I'm okay to work there. My realtor works there, so I'm okay to work there. You know what I mean? In our situation, we just help you do it. So, okay, my computer is messing this up. So it is 4:29. I think this only goes to 4:30. Am I right?
I can hang out for a few minutes if people want to ask me more questions. I'm good with that, Steve.
Okay, so I'm not. I have to go. So everybody here, feel free to ask Jason questions, and reach out to me if you have any questions on how to get people in your downline. Right? I know the bunches on here who have them in your downline, so it's pretty easy. I know you guys didn't do a lot of work to get them. Just give me the names. Okay?
Thanks, Steve.
Talk to you later. Bye, guys.
Just so you guys know, like when I talk about databasing in my team, like my team in March did 35 deals. So I preach this to my team all the time. And I do a Thursday call, coaching thing every Thursday. You guys want to come on, you're more than welcome to come on. You just reach out to myself or my team and we'll add you to it. Sometimes it's just about our personal follow-up all stuff. So, but that's all database. We talk database 90% of the time, or how to talk to buyers and sellers, right? Learn how to script with people, learn how to talk to people. Going to a training course, there's times I go to training courses and honestly, in the first hour, I'm done because I've got enough information. I've taken that 1 or 2 points and I'm out of here. Like I'll sit there for the next 6 hours, but I'm done. Like when you guys listen to us talk today, if you take one thing from it, you're good. Like don't try and implement 10 because you'll just pack them up there. Pick one. And right now, if you take Derek's, just take your iPhone and put it in, you're good. That's a start, right? That's a good thing for today. Then we can talk about how to manage that and attack it. Right?
Does anybody have any questions for Jason?
They've
No?
all got more enough information, they're done.
That's all right. Well, thank you so much, guys, for coming out. Feel free to follow up with either Jason, myself, or Steve if you guys have anything that kind of comes to mind later, or you want to get more information. Jason would be happy to go into more detail personally with you. So